The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Paranormal Concept right here on Parasearch UK Radio with your host, Paul Rook.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this brilliant episode of the Paranormal Concept Show. I'm your host, Paul Rook, and on tonight's show we are joined, as always, by the lovely Kerry Greenaway. Hello, Kerry.
Hello, darling. All right.
Yeah, how are you?
I was fine until about 5 to 8 tonight.
Tell me about it.
All went a bit wrong at the beginning of the night, didn't it?
I'll tell you, it's because I've been away for a week and my laptop's not had a chance to update the software. And yeah, as soon as I put a laptop on tonight, it was like, right, update the studio. So it went through, and then it was like, right, now update Windows.
Oh, I know. It's been a bit of a mare tonight. But I'm sorry. Our apologies, really, for Neil and Jane and Kelly, who was on earlier, just before us. So I do apologise about that. But you've got to love tech when it goes wrong.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, it's one of those things that can't be helped. Mm-hmm. But anyway, on to the Paranormal Concept Show. Tonight we are joined by Scott Longman of the City of London Paranormal. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
That one. So I'm bound to get
it. Yeah, City of London Paranormal Group.
Excellent, cool. So what sort of... Going back before, obviously, you set your paranormal up, let's sort of learn a little bit about yourself. So,
okay.
You into the paranormal?
Okay, so really, my experiences of the paranormal was back when I was about 8 years old. I grew up in a little village called Lechlade, which is in Gloucestershire, and the primary school that I went to, you literally had to walk through a graveyard to get to the school. So, you know, it was not too bad when it was summer because the evenings were still light.
Yeah.
But you come to the winter time, it could get quite scary when you're walking home, even at sort of 4 o'clock in the evening.
Especially when the night's drew in and that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there was halfway up the churchyard, the graveyard. There was on the right hand side. There was a little like garden gate, and behind this garden gate was like a small hexagonal. It looked really like a summer house, to be honest, but it was just a small hexagonal build structure. Nothing really physically in there, apart from, you know, a couple of tables and a chair, and but that's all it all it was. And that was my first paranormal experience. I was walking home one winter evening from the primary school, and I always sort of got a feeling that there was something, I suppose what I thought was not right at that age.
Yeah.
And this particular evening, I looked over and looked, and I saw this like young teenage guy in like a white dress, a white sort of summery hat, really. Probably Victorian age style clothes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, and I sort of blinked and looked again, and she was gone. But I knew definitely that I had saw something.
Yeah.
And since that day, every sort of 2 or 3 days, I would see her.
Okay.
And one evening, I thought, right, I'm going to go into the gate, and went into the gate, and she was there again, straight in front of me, and then literally disappeared. So for me, it was scary being a young 8-year-old boy. But it was my first real experience of the paranormal. As a child, we lived in quite an old detached house, which was haunted. So I tended to get sort of feelings about stuff there. Witnessed a couple of things. So yeah, we moved from Gloucestershire and moved to Somerset when I was the age of 10. Yeah. Again, we moved into an old farmhouse, which I had a few more sort of paranormal experiences. Mm-hmm. And that sort of continued happening. And then when I was 20, I worked for a friend of mine for a funeral directors for 3 years.
Okay, interesting.
And that's really where I started to realise that I had some sort of gift. I had some sort of, I couldn't see something that no one else could see. Yeah. But I could sense things, and I could see what I would call now manifestations, what other people can actually see as well.
Okay. So you actually see you actually see the full body of a person as opposed to a light or anything.
Yeah. Well, so I also see orbs and stuff like that. So, but my gift, as far as I'm concerned, is more sensing spirits.
Right. Okay.
I'm not like a psychic medium or any. I'm what I call an empath medium, because I can sense stuff and pick stuff up. So 3 years working for funeral directors. My experiences obviously enhanced quite a bit. And then I decided to move to London.
You can't leave the funeral home there. You've got to have had experiences at the funeral home.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not letting you jump ahead on that, because I bet you must have had something at the funeral home.
Trouble is that there was so many. Do you know what I mean? It's weird because we used to, we were 24-hour funeral directors. We used to get call outs at like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to go and pick up bodies. Then we'd bring them back to where we're based. We were based. Sometimes they would just be taken straight up to a hospital. So it's really my experiences with the funeral side of it was really when we were sort of washing and dressing and preparing bodies, ready for viewings. And you again, the sense that someone was there, watching you and watching what you were doing. Yes, we had sort of stuff moving. We had keys go missing and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just really sensing, the energy. Especially when the body was laid out in a coffin in the chapel of rest. There was a strong sense of energy there. There was a strong presence there.
I agree with that, because when I viewed one of my grandparents in the Chapel of Rest, the energy in there is completely different from the rest. I mean, I know it's set up like a church kind of scenario, isn't it? The body laid out, and it's a paying your respects moment. So it is that kind of vibe in Chapel of Rest when you go in. But I think it goes beyond that. Do you not think? Or do you think that's created by the people that go in, and their emotional energy is what charges that atmosphere?
No, I think yes. Obviously the family going in to view their loved ones. I think yes, the emotion does charge the energy even more. But from my experiences of working in the field for 3 years, I've always felt a strong energy, even when I've been in the room on my own with the body. And you feel that it's actually the person that you're looking after that's actually there watching you, watching what you're doing to their shell, to their body, because the spirit is there as an energy. It's no longer in that shell of a body. So, yeah, I think the family's emotions do heighten the strength of the energy of the presence. But I don't think it's just that. I think it's already there. The spirit is there, and it's the same. I've seen sort of orbs when we've taken bodies to the actual funeral, the day of the funeral, because I've seen manifestations. You could have a coffin on top of the cremation stand, but you could sense that person for the last time was there. And again, it's just that strength of energy, and being that everyone, all their loved one, friends, family, etc., are there in that one room, whether it's in a crematorium, whether it's in a church, wherever, that spirit is drawing off that energy. And I think that, to me, in my experience, that is the final sort of time that spirit gets really to say goodbye to their loved ones, and vice versa.
So did you get any messages?
Sorry.
Did you get any messages from them? Because you said like you felt that they were watching you do like getting their body ready. The
only one I did do, which was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, was my best friend. We were on a night out at the nightclub I was working at as well at the time, and he got hit by 4 people in a car.
Yeah.
Under the influence of drugs and alcohol, and hit him at 90 miles an hour. And dragged him like 200 yards down the road before they even realised that they'd hit him. We had the phone call at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it wasn't until my cousin, who was actually sharing a flat with my best friend, phoned me and said, "Oh, had I heard about Rob?" I said, "Well, no." And they said, "Well, he was killed on Butley Road, which is where the accident was, and that's where we picked the body up from." So it suddenly clicked. Oh, well, I think we've actually got Rob back in the back of the car, sort of thing. And the family wanted me to do the whole thing, the washing of the body, the preparing of the body, the carrying of the coffin, the conducting of the actual funeral. So that was the hardest thing that I'd ever done. But yeah, when I was preparing his body and dressing him, and I used to go in there just to spend time with him on my own. I always had a message from him saying, "Look, don't worry, I will look after you." And there's been a couple of situations after the funeral, etc., that has happened where I have felt that, and it was him. Do you know what I mean? And now, to be honest, even more so because he is my spirit guide.
Yeah. So it's really comforting then, isn't it?
Yeah. And he's always been, from that day that he was killed, he's always been there by my side and always will be. But yeah, it's not an easy thing to do.
No, I can imagine.
The job itself, to be honest, if I was offered a full-time job doing that now, I would quite happily go back and do it, because for me, it was the most rewarding job that I'd done in my life. Yeah. Because, we were based in a small village, so a lot of the people that we were dealing with were people that we already knew in the village, and anyone even outside of the village and that we didn't know. Do you know what I mean? The amount of respect that you get from the family and loved ones of the person that you're looking after is out of this world, and it's a great feeling. And like I say, it's the most rewarding job I've ever done, and I would quite happily go back into doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those jobs you can either do it or you can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
no, I totally get that.
It's you see a lot of horrible stuff, and yeah, it's you've got to have a stomach for it.
So you said before that you feel like it's their last chance to say goodbye to their family members, and obviously it's the family members' last chance to say goodbye to them.
Yeah.
When you was working in that field, I'm sure you had people working with you that weren't sensitive or psychic or empathic.
Yeah.
But they, how was it for them when you were speaking to them? Were they getting the same sort of things without acknowledging an ability, if that makes sense?
To be honest, no, I don't think they are. They were. To be honest, I was probably the youngest person on the group by about 20 years. So I suppose as a younger person, and being that I already sort of had that sort of gift anyway, I was more sensitive to it as a younger person anyway. I think for the rest of them, they were all sort of in their sort of 50s, 60s, all doing it part-time. And for them, it was just a job sort of thing. But for me, it became more. It helped me build on my sort of gift that I already had, and it helped me experience so much more than what I would have done if I hadn't done the job. And it was really through that when I moved to London, a few years later, sort of, like I said, because I only started the group sort of back in September last year. And it just came to me one day. I thought, okay. And I can't even explain why it sort of come to me. And I thought, well, I'm going to start a paranormal group. And this initially it was just going to be like a bit of fun, a bit of hobby sort of thing. But again, as soon as I started that group back in September last year, it's become so much more. Both spiritually and mentally. And I enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I want, this is why my group, my whole group, we get on brilliantly. We have different branches now, and we're expanding, and that's what I want. Do you know what I mean? I'm not in it for money. I'm not in it, but what I want to be able to do is expand internationally, so that we can investigate internationally, and that way get more proof of the paranormal, of life after death, and prove what we're all trying to do, is to prove exactly that. I've had so much support from other people and other groups all over the world. France, America. We've had offers to go over to America next year to do investigations. We've had invitation to go into France and doing investigations. We've got paranormal groups from France and America that want to come to London and do paranormal investigations with us. We've got a paranormal group in November that's coming to London from Australia that contacted me and want to do paranormal investigations while they're here. Yeah. We've also been very lucky with being picked to do the world's largest ghost hunt this year.
Yeah.
On National Ghost Hunting Day, which is the 28th of September. We're doing a place in London called the Viaduct Tavern.
Yeah, I know it.
Which is
a good little location.
Yeah, it is a good location. My group, we do a monthly social evening. And the last one was last week, and that was at the Viaduct Tavern. And it's the first time I'd ever actually stepped foot into the place, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the management there have been great, and they took us down into the cellar areas, and showed us like the two separate areas that used to be cells, and all the history to it. Yeah. And it was amazing. The energy down there was so strong. I took a couple of pieces of equipment with me as well. That was sort of spiking to the maximum sort of thing. And there was nothing that could have been setting it off around where we were actually standing. Do you know what I mean? It was so it was a good response.
Yeah.
We also did a place called the Magpie and Stump, which we did on the 3rd of August, which is literally just over the road.
Sorry, that's a name and a half, isn't it? The Magpie and Stump. Did they come up with that name?
I don't know.
Maybe there was a magpie on stump somewhere. I don't know. Or a magpie with one leg.
Yeah. But both places are actually right next to the Old Bailey.
Right.
And with the Magpie and Stump especially, there used to be access to the underground cells, which are linked to the Old Bailey.
Yeah.
They've now been blocked up, but there is apparently a way that we can get into there, which the manageress of the Magpie and Stump is trying to find out for me, so we can do an investigation there. But yeah, both pubs were very active. So yeah, that's really been my journey so far. We are.
Do you not find, though, that because obviously you can pick up on spirit, does that not hinder your investigation in any way?
No, because I don't let it. I'm very, very sort of... When I go into an investigation, I keep an open mind, because you have to.
Oh, that's so good.
Do you know what I mean? You have to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
And this, and I've done my whole group. I've got them into that frame of mind as well. A couple of them have sort of gifts as well that they can sense stuff. But I make sure that everyone goes in with an open mind. That way, you actually tend to get more activity by keeping an open mind. And every investigation we've done so far, we've not been disappointed.
So, do you just stick it to London locations?
No, we're doing all over the country. We've got quite a few locations booked. We've already got a lot of locations booked for next year. It's all on our events page on our website. So you can have a look on there. It's www.cityoflondonparanormalgroup.org.uk.
Okay.
We also have our Facebook groups, which we have a group page for each branch.
Yeah.
So that gives members from each area to join the branch. Do you know what I mean? It gives them that opportunity.
I think I've joined a few of those.
All right.
I think I joined a few of those.
I think you're on most of them, I think.
Yeah, I joined one, and then I was added to the others. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But no, it just it just gives everyone then their own area group page. I have operations managers for each branch, which run that branch and run that Facebook page. So this, and we're hoping to expand more and more and more and work with as many groups as possible. We've got a lot of UK groups that are wanting to sort of work with us as well, which is all good. Yeah. We've also got our City of London Para Unity Facebook group.
Yep.
Which, like I said before, one thing my group and what I stand for is Para Unity. Because, you're all there to do the same job. You're all there to do the same thing. You're all there to achieve the same goal.
Yeah.
I don't believe that one group is any better than any other group.
No.
And, at the end of the day, you should all be working together and helping each other.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with that sentiment.
And that's how it should be, and that's how my group work. And how we always will work. Any negativity we get rid of instantly.
Yeah,
and that's the only way to deal with it. I've found now. Used to be a case to start off with when we started up. You'd sort of not get rid of the people that were causing it and just try and blank it out. But now it's like there is so much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's so much negativity on the paranormal scene. And there's a lot of groups that won't work with other groups or don't like other groups going to venues they investigate and all this sort of thing. It's like, well, work together.
So although I understand and agree with you that that's the way it should be, but I think, me in particular, I've been in the paranormal now for like 12, 13 years, and I've got an events company. I do that sort of stuff, but I've been attacked so many times by different small paranormal teams that it makes me think really hard about, do I really want to work with another small paranormal team? Are they? It almost makes you paranoid. Are they going to be turning out like the other ones? That do attack you, and I think that's something as well that people also have to understand, is because I've been attacked so many times. I find it hard to trust other paranormal teams. I try and keep an open mind, but there's always that little bit of doubt in the back of my mind.
I understand what you're saying. Look, it's like my group. For a group that was only started last September, we're doing quite well.
Absolutely.
And my group I've built from scratch. Do you know what I mean? I have. Yeah. It's something that I've done through my own passion and done myself, and I've built the teams myself. And now we've got a good structure in all of the groups, all of the teams.
And
that's we've been attacked by other London groups.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I just, like I said, the way I deal with it now is the people that we get the negativity and the harassment from, you remove them from your, from your scene, from
Absolutely.
them contacting you, and that's the only way I've found that is feasible way of doing it, because there are groups out there that are 2 or 3 man groups that want to work with us, and I think like I said, I'm no expert on this, but I'm an easygoing guy. I'll give anyone a chance, and I think the more groups that can work together is better. I think putting a barrier up is not the best way of dealing with the situation, if you know what I mean.
No.
I can understand where you're coming from, and yes, I agree to a certain extent, because of myself getting that from other groups personally. Do you know what I mean? And trying to sort of badmouth us on other social media sites, etc. But through totally removing them from your sort of contact and circle,
absolutely,
you build up a strong. And you learn to know when you're dealing with bad people or good people. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think you've got to give everyone a chance. We've been very lucky in respect that we've been contacted by so many groups wanting to work with us. And when you sort of turn around and say, well, why do you want to work with us? Well, because you believe in Para Unity, because you're doing what we consider to be the right thing.
Yeah.
And running your group professionally and the right way. And that's why I've managed to get good team members, is because the way I run my group, I make sure it's done professional. I make sure it's done properly. And, same with the investigations. I will not put people into a situation on an investigation where they're going to be in danger, or, there's going to be problems. You get a lot of groups that obviously do sort of a lot of abandoned buildings and all this sort of thing. Yes, that's great. And I don't knock anyone for doing that whatsoever. But I've seen live streams from sort of paranormal groups where they've been on a live stream investigation in an abandoned building that they actually have no permission to be in.
Yeah,
and they end up, on the live stream having to leg it on the build from the building.
Absolutely.
From the building they're investigating, because the police have been called because a neighbour thinks that they're trespassing. Do you know what I mean? And for me, that's not how I want to run my group.
I totally concur with that. I mean, I've known paranormal teams to do that, and I've always said, like, you need to get permission to go into the properties. I've done ghost walks around places like Borley, for example. And I've always notified the local police as well, just to let them know there's a large group of people. And just it goes so far in the community just to do that sort of stuff.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like I said, with us, yes, there's a lot of abandoned places that we want to do, but the very least that you do, if you can't get a contact for someone who sort of owns the building, or you know what I mean, you contact the local police for that area and say, look, we're going to be doing an investigation there, just to let you know, there'll be a large group of people there. This is what we're doing, and just be upfront and honest about what you're doing. And 9 times out of 10, there's not a problem.
No, exactly. And I mean, you'd always need to get the landowner's permission anyway.
Yeah.
But also, I was going to say, I mean, if the landowner says, it's okay, you can go and do that, I'd always do a recce in the daytime.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what sort of state that building's in.
Well, no,
you don't know whether you're going
yeah.
to be putting one foot in there and then falling into the
exactly.
cellar.
I mean, even with we're doing a lot of public. I mean, what we're trying to do this year is do mostly team only events.
Yeah.
So it gives the teams more experience in investigating, etc., etc. We've got a couple of public events this year, but most of our public events we're booked in for next year. Yeah. And the one thing I always do, even on somewhere like the Viaduct or the Magpie and Stump, the first investigation we did at Magpie and Stump on the 3rd of August was a team only event.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you then know as a team what you're dealing with, what if any hazards there are, and if it's safe to do a public investigation there. Now, with the Magpie and Stump, it all went swimmingly, and it was a really, really good evening. And we now booked to do a public event there in November. But I do that on every venue that we're doing a public event. I always do a team only event first, so we know exactly what we're dealing with.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my journey so far, and
have we got any questions in the chat room, Kerry?
Yeah, Richard Clements has asked, what investigation techniques does Scott's group prefer?
The thing is, with the London group especially, we've got a good mixture of old style paranormal investigators and youngsters. So you get the whole mixture, to be honest. You have the youngsters that are more interested in using the sort of up-to-date equipment, whereas we've got 2 or 3 on the team that have been doing it for like 15, 20 years, and like to use the old school methods. So I don't think we've got a preferred sort of option, to be honest. I think it also depends on, because I always, again, even before we do the team investigation, I always do a pre-investigation visit myself. So you tend to, it tends to vary anyway by venue.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a venue with a load of electrics, etc., that in every area that you're going to be doing, it's no good trying to do EMF readings and K2 meters and all this sort of things, because it's just going to be setting it off all the time. So you tend to go back to sort of old school sort of methods, if you like.
Yeah.
And so it all depends on the venue, really. But we don't really use any preferred method. Again, we're pretty open-minded to seeing what happens, really, and going from there on the night.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to a few times to the Ragged School in London.
Yeah.
And it's a Victorian location.
Right.
And I've often thought, because I've been there with various teams, and they've all gone high tech. They've taken everything.
Yeah.
With the kitchen sink, pretty much. And I just thought to myself, most of the spirits here are from the Victorian era.
Yeah.
They wouldn't. They tend to hold back. I found at the Ragged School. And I think because of the tech they've got, it's almost like, whoa, I don't know what that is. I'm staying well clear of that.
Yeah.
So I've always wondered whether or not a traditional Victorian seance would be better as an event.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, it all depends on the feeling that you get from the venue, I think.
Yeah.
And also, looking into the history of the venue that you're doing, it sort of helps you. Although you end up taking all your equipment along anyway, a lot of the decisions that I make on investigations of what equipment to use, is purely on the night, with regards to what sort of response we're getting from whatever equipment. Then, if you're not getting a response, you try something different.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's trial and error on the night.
Yeah.
And most of the venues that we're doing, we are looking to do, on a sort of more of a regular basis, for every 6 months or whatever, depending on the venue. But, I mean, for me, it's trial and error. And again, you look into the history of the place. That's why I always do a pre-investigation visit to look at the place myself, see what interference there could be, whether it's noise, whether it's electrics, etc., and you make your decisions from there.
You have got some great events coming up, I'm not going to lie. Not only have you got the Viaduct Tavern for the world's biggest ghost hunt, you've also got places like the National Emergency Services Museum, the Old Nick Theatre they've got coming up, the Leopard Inn you've got coming up as well. You're looking to book Leopard.
We are, we're just waiting for a new date on that. We did have a date originally for it, but we had to change it. So I'm just waiting, literally, over the next couple of days for a new date for that.
Fascinating one, though, the Leopard Inn.
Yeah.
From what I've seen. Some of the old favourites in there, Fort Amherst, the Robin Hood experience and Fort Redoubt. And you've got the Old Strut School. Now, another thing I've noticed on your events page is you do social evenings as well. Tell me about your social evenings.
Really, it's a chance for current members to, in those areas, to meet up. We do a raffle. We do, it's literally a social evening. It's a relaxed evening. We will be having some of the places that we're going to be using in the future for the social events. We will be having guest speakers. It's a way of current members mingling and meeting other members, as well as we welcome new people that want to come along and, be potential members, really.
So it is really all about building not just a paranormal investigation group. It is actually about building your own personal, little community of people, like-minded people, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And even for one of the main reasons I've done it is also for my own team. You know what I mean? Because you're going to get people coming from other areas down to these social evenings. So again, it gives the team a chance to gel and work together, and and get to know each other as well. As well as, the members that are coming on board or are on board get to meet the official teams.
So
it's all about
inclusive rather than exclusive.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's what I want. That's what I've always wanted to achieve. And this is why, again, I'm so supportive and so much working on the whole para-unity thing, because everyone should be included.
Yeah.
Whatever their background, do you know what I mean?
Or whatever their view?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had a guy turn up at our social event last week. Now, he basically registered to come along literally 2 hours before the event. And he was very much a skeptic in the sense of everything can be explained scientifically. But the interesting thing about it was, speaking to him for about 2-3 hours, was anything that they can't explain, he seemed to put down as, negativity, negative energy, negative, just negativity. And that was interesting. So I was, me and a couple of other members of my team were speaking to him, and we were just discussing different aspects of, paranormal and what he believed in, and he was saying that he was on a mission, and that's why he would attend events like this to prove that things can be explained scientifically, and the things that can't be explained are things that yet have to have a scientific reason for them, but it hasn't been created yet, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
so he was basically a skeptic.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but the last sort of thing I said to him, I said, look, I would really like you to come on an actual investigation, because somewhere like the Magpie and Stump that we did, there was so much that happened that I think it would change his view to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Instead of the problem with it was that his view seemed to be sort of, he wasn't really open-minded about other people's views, but he expected everyone to be open-minded about his views. I'm not saying his views are wrong. I'm not saying anyone.
No, but that's a common thing, isn't it? Somebody close-minded about their view.
But this was what my argument was. This was like, okay, you expect us as paranormal investigators to keep an open mind about what your beliefs are, to explain what happens paranormally, as in scientifically. Then at least keep your mind open about what happens paranormally, instead of having a scientific reason for everything. And that was my sort of argument with him. Not literally argument, but that was my feeling.
Yeah.
From the 2-3 hour conversations we were having, he didn't really. And this is why I think it would be good for him to come on an actual paranormal investigation.
Yeah.
I've
experienced quite a lot in my time, and I'm still quite a skeptic person. Yeah. Even when something quite unexplained happens, it's like, well, maybe, okay, it's unexplainable. I can't explain it. No. But that doesn't mean to say that it's paranormal. No, but then surely if someone then does eventually come up with an explanation for something paranormal, then it obviously no longer becomes paranormal and becomes part of the natural world or science as a whole, So the paranormal is going to get smaller and smaller as we keep chipping away at it.
But I don't think it will, to be honest. I think, there will always be new things that, even say 20 years down the line, even if we have all this evidence of the paranormal, I think there's always going to be something new that's going to happen that we can't explain, whether it's paranormal or whether it's scientifically.
Yeah,
I think you're always going to have those new things happening.
I'm sure there's going to be weird. I mean, because obviously the paranormal is not just ghosts.
Exactly.
It encompasses a big, wide range of topics.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. I'm sure there's going to be new and weird and wonderful things.
I think there'll always be, things to investigate. I don't think the world of paranormal investigators, etc., will never decrease, because there will always be new things to investigate. And you know, and to a certain extent, even if there's more scientific evidence to explain certain things that were originally thought to be paranormal, I think there's always going to be investigators that would want to go out there and do more to actually prove that wrong, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I love what I do, and for me it's a great feeling. It's a great buzz.
Yeah,
and you know, I'm meeting some great people through it, and that, you know, for me,
I must admit, you are sort of offering something a bit different out there to the normal paranormal team.
Yeah, and that's what I aim to do. Do you know what I mean? And
good.
I think this is why we've had so much of a great response and support from other paranormal groups and teams all over, not only just over the UK, but internationally, because we are trying to do stuff differently. We are trying to really push that whole para-unity thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, we're actually looking. I'm just waiting for confirmation of a venue. I'm not going to say too much at the moment, but we're actually looking to do a Paracon in central London next year.
Awesome.
So watch this space.
Absolutely
awesome. One thing I was going to ask you, being as you're based in the City of London, you can't not have done or do the Jack the Ripper walk. Do you do it yourself, or do you hire somebody in to do the talking bit?
What we've done is, because I initially did the Jack the Ripper talk through a company that does it very regularly, and through them we're now working with them, so we don't do it individually as such. We do it. We work with that company to do the tours, because I think they're already up on that, you know, the knowledge of it and everything else, and I would rather work with a company that's already doing it, which looks more professional, than trying to do something and bodge something up to just for the sake of selling tickets. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather do it through a company and it be done professionally, than try and do it myself and not do it professionally.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Because we're also looking at there's also a ghost walk tour that was done, which starts from Leicester Square, and it's actually the same company that's doing that, and we're going to be working with with that company as well, to do that as well. So there's a lot happening in the pipeline.
You need to get onto the South Bank as well.
Yes, yeah.
I went on the Ghost Bus. Have you encountered that one yet?
I haven't yet. No, that's one thing I wanted to do. I wanted to actually arrange an event. I've got my events manager looking into that. He has contacted them, and we've got the prices, etc. It's just a case of setting a date and, you know, getting enough people to have the interest to do it.
Absolutely.
So that's what I mean, it's one thing I want to do. Again, I'll probably end up doing it like just me and a couple of others to start off with, just to see what it's about and what it involves.
Absolutely. I mean,
and then when we do a public thing, then, you know, we know what we're talking about, sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be worth you definitely going on the bus as one of the tourists.
Because
that's what I done one year. And it's not a serious ghost.
No. No.
But I do recommend it.
Yeah,
it's quite good fun.
Yeah, and I think you've got to make it fun, haven't you? Do you know what I mean? You've got to do it professionally. Yeah, even on investigations, you've got to do it professionally. You've got to treat spirits with the utmost respect.
I just heard somebody say in my ear, and it wasn't on the feed coming through the studio. I just heard someone say, "That's right," as you were saying that.
Huh.
About being professional and working with the right teams and stuff like that. And I just heard a voice say, "That's right." I don't know if anybody out there listening heard it, but I heard it in my ears. I was like, "Oh, okay."
So no, we welcome any teams and any groups that want to work with us. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm still learning. And I think even people that have been doing it for 20, 30 years, you're always learning.
Absolutely.
And it's always good to work with other groups because, you can help each other. You learn different techniques of doing stuff. You get different responses. Even if you go into the same venue, every investigation, you could do, say, six investigations in the same venue, but every investigation is going to be different. And that's what I like about it. Yeah, and that's why I'm willing, to work with any teams anywhere, and build a good relationship and build a great community and power unity.
Absolutely, that sounds really good. And I know we've shared the website out in the chat room. So if anyone wants to go and have a look at your events and stuff, and join in, they can
also join as members online as well. We are launching a new paranormal magazine by the end of this month, which is included in the membership fee. You get discount on we have a website shop which you get a discount on, and you also get discount on the events. So please go and have a look, and support what we're trying to do, and let's all work together and build a great future for the paranormal community.
That's it, and it's sort of bringing them all in, and like encompassing them, and working together. So no, that's something that I do like, and appreciate absolutely. But on that note, we have actually come to the end of the show. But I think
no problem.
We should have finished ages ago.
That's my fault.
We're a little late coming into the studio, to be fair.
Well,
Kerry, what have we got coming up for the rest of the week?
Tomorrow evening, Wednesday evening, we have Haunted Histories with Penny G. Morgan talking to Dalen from the Ghost Brothers. That's pretty damn awesome. About a place in Ohio called the House of Wheels, which used to be an old funeral home, funny enough.
Okay.
In Ohio. So that's something, I know, right? So that's what she is talking about.
Straight to one. That's quite good.
So she's talking to Dalen tomorrow. Just going to get that in one more time. Dalen from the Ghost Brothers is on Parasearch Radio tomorrow evening, 9 p.m. Then on Thursday evening, we have a double banger of a show for you, kicking off at 8 p.m. on Thursday evening with the Parallel Prism Show and our very own Jolene talking to the adorable, I love this man, Mr. Chris Fleming. He's coming on the show for her. Then we have, following that, as if that weren't enough, we are followed at 9 p.m. by the PSH Radio Show with Nikki Folsom, paranormal author, paranormal convention goer. So much to that lady's strings to her bow, it's untrue. She's lovely as well. Then on Friday evening, we lower the tone as always with the Dark Mirror Show, and we're talking about dark tourism on Friday evening, and that's your lineup for the rest of the week.
Awesome. And on next week's show, I do believe we're talking about symbology.
Yeah, well, we're looking at a few because it's a huge topic, this one. But we're going to have a look at a few symbols, and we're being joined by Kieran again, which will be great.
Yeah, absolutely. We got him hard at work behind the scenes.
Bless him. Don't think he's realised what he's let himself in for.
He will do one day. But anyway, thanks everyone for joining us in the chat room. And thank you, Scott, for joining us as well.
And thank you guys for letting me come on the show. Anytime you want me back on, just let us know.
It's been a pleasure. I mean, yeah, we've got so much more to ask you, but we'll definitely have you back on. And
no problem. Anytime, guys. Thank you very much.
No problem. So yes, thank you very much. So, Kerry, is there anything else you want to add?
No, just if you miss any of our shows, don't forget we have 2 YouTube channels. We have Archive Parasearch and we have Parasearch Radio. Archive Parasearch is loads of back shows that we've done on Parasearch Radio before, and on Parasearch Radio it is all the latest episodes going up on that one. Don't forget, while you're over there, don't forget to click like, share and subscribe. And our website, we have parasearch.org website where all our blogs, and if you go over there, don't forget you can subscribe to our monthly newsletter.
Oh yeah, we've got a newsletter out now. I keep forgetting about that. Yeah. Awesome.
Choking just a little. I've forgotten about that bit, right?
Anyway, it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from me.
Good night, guys.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.